Hey, how you doing? Welcome to another video. For those of you who are new here and you don't know, my name is Coach Adaisy Chiwako. I am a certified marriage and relationship coach and affair recovery specialist. I work with couples and individuals around the world, helping them to rebuild trust, restore intimacy, and create the marriage of their dreams, even after an affair. And I know that is possible because that is my truth. That's what my husband and I lived through, and that is the truth of many of the clients that I work with. In this video, I want to give you an overarching blueprint to how you can recover from an affair if that is what you want to do. Now, there are many people who don't want to do that, and if that's the case, that's great. You're on the wrong video. There's lots of help for people who, recovering after an affair, staying in their marriage after an affair is just not an option, and that's fine. But for those of you who do want to fight for your marriage and create a brand new marriage on the back of this, then stick around. Let me give you an overarching blueprint. Now, let me say at this point that each of these pointers that I'm going to give you, I will do an in-depth video around over the next few months. They'll be coming, right? They'll be dropping. Before I go ahead, if this is something that you are struggling with and there's been betrayal in your marriage and you really want help with recovering from this, creating a new marriage and going ahead and having a marriage that is even stronger than before the affair, then I really do want you to reach out to me, talk about my affair recovery program. And all you need to do is hit the link in the description, book a 30-minute free breakthrough call, and let's talk about it. Also, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I need as many of you on here. I'm trying to create a community of people who absolutely don't want to just have a mediocre, bog standard marriage, but you want to create a radically transformed marriage that overflows with love, passion, excitement, adventure, fun, all of that good stuff. You want to thrive in your marriage. You're in the right place. So when it comes to affair recovery, it's important to know that obviously all marriages are different. There's different dynamics, there's different things that happened with the actual affair, and so there isn't a one size fits all. But with most things in life, there are some things that do apply in all cases, right? And these are the things that I want to point out to you today. If you can just really pay attention to these things, you're going to set yourself up to having a better chance of creating a much better marriage this time and healing properly and going through this whole journey, which it will be a lot more easily, a lot more quicker, and getting to your destination that you want to get to, which is this whole healthy, trusting marriage. So the advice I want to give is going to be for both of you in the couple, the betrayer and the betrayed. Some of them are going to be directed specifically at the betrayed, some of them directed specifically at the betrayer, and some of them will be for both of you, but it's important that you listen to it all. So here's number one. For the betrayer, it's so important that you pay attention to this. You have to be honest about the whole situation. Now, what I mean by this is that oftentimes while I'm working with clients that are in this situation, I find that there's a part of the whole affair that has come out, and that has caused so much devastation and heartbreak that the betrayer thinks to themselves, well, I'm not going to also tell them that, or I better hide this aspect of it because that's going to break their hearts even more. That's going to cause even more devastation. Listen, let me tell you, it all comes out. At some point, it is all going to come out. And what tends to happen is your partner thinks, okay, I've got the full story. I'm going to work hard in dealing with this. And you guys go on this journey of healing, only for a week later, a month later, a few months later, more to come out. And it starts you all over again. This time it's worse because they felt like, okay, we're going to work on this together. They're being honest with me. I can start to rebuild this trust, only to find that you were still lying. Devastation. Now, like I said, I get it. I understand why you want to do this. I understand why it might feel like a better choice to withhold some information, especially witnessing what this revelation has caused. But I promise you, in the long run, it is better that it all comes out at one time. Now, bear in mind, there are certain things that I don't want you to expose. You don't want to reveal the type of sex you are having and things like that, because there's some things that are not going to be able to leave your partner's mind. But in terms of the whole affair, how long it went on for, if it started and if it stopped and started again, all of that sort of thing, you need to be honest right from the get-go. Number two, if you truly want to recover properly from this affair and let the healing process be quicker than it would be, skip the band-aids. And so what I mean by band-aids are the gifts and the holidays. I mean, they're nice and they're going to be good at a point, but if you're using them as a band-aid to be like, look, okay, let's just cover this all up with a gift, big, expensive, lavish gift, or let's cover this up with a holiday, it's not going to work. All you're doing is prolonging the pain, right? Because at some point, you still have to deal with this. At some point, you're still going to have to uncover what happened, the impact that it's had on your partner, the impact that it's had on your relationship, and you're going to have to work through and walk through the whole process of healing together. And there's no band-aid, there's no plaster that's going to cover that up. That the gift won't. It feels good in the moment, and then as soon as you come home, it all comes rushing back. It's much better that you invest your time in connecting with each other, listening to each other, talking with each other, and really getting underneath the root cause of this whole situation, right? Number three, you've got to take full responsibility for your actions. This is for the betrayer. We're still on the betrayer. This has been about the betrayer, hasn't it? 1, 2, and 3. Yes, the betrayer. You've got to take ownership for your actions. You've got to take full responsibility. This isn't the time for you to start saying, well, I only did this because you, and I was so unhappy in the marriage, and all these other excuses. You've got to start from the place of, I own my actions. I take full responsibility 100%. Because although there may have been things that, you were unhappy with in the marriage, an affair did not have to be the option that you took. You had other choices, right, in terms of trying to deal with that problem. So the first thing you need to do is really take ownership of your actions. Number four, this is for both of you, the betrayed and the betrayer. Patience is key. This is not something that you are going to be able to brush under the carpet and be over with in a month, right? Typically, they say it takes about 18 months to fully recover from the impact of an affair. With some guided help, we can shorten that quite a lot. But 18 months is the ballpark. And if you think you're just going to be able to brush this away, and within weeks you're like, listen, that's what's happened in the past. We need to move past it. No, it's not going to work. You have to be patient. You've got to be patient with healing. You've got to be patient with the restoration of your marriage. You've got to have patience with each other and have patience with yourself. So, for the betrayed person, it's really important that you don't try and rush through your healing. Understand that an affair has a similar impact on your emotions and on your psyche as the death of a loved one. Like, you are literally grieving in this time. And just like you wouldn't expect yourself to just pick yourself up and keep going if you'd lost somebody that you truly loved, don't expect that of yourself now. And actually, it's better for you to give yourself that time to grieve. Betrayer, give your partner that time to grieve. Like, really be empathetic and patient in this time. Number five, I need you to practice something that I call healing together. And this is the mistake that I see lots of people make, particularly the betrayed person who feels like They just have to deal with their own emotional upheaval on their own and try and just show up in the marriage as healed and whole and happy and deal with all the darkness by themselves. And usually they do this because they don't want to cause any more problems within the relationship. It's based on fear. Like, if I keep showing up so unhappy and so hurt, so broken, it's going to chase my partner away again. And so it's almost as if they're on their own, rocking away in the corner by themselves, trying to figure this whole thing out by themselves. And actually, it causes more problems. On top of that, it doesn't give you both the opportunity to use this time to emotionally connect. Now, I've done a whole video on this, which you can check out over here, Healing Together. And it's really about both of you operating in a place of compassion, empathy, understanding, leaning into each other with the hurt, with the pain, with the confusion, with the disappointment, and giving each other the opportunity to be there for each other. It's literally holding hands through the storm together, right? And it's so powerful. This is one of the key things that causes people to be stronger after the affair than before, because they literally go through it together. I remember within my own marriage that I would wake up in the middle of the night in an absolute panic because I'd have bad dreams, nightmares. And rather than just try and deal with it myself, I would turn to Mr. Chwaka and I would tell him exactly what I'm going through, exactly what I'm feeling, and give him the opportunity to come in and support me in that, and he would hold my hand and we would pray together, and he would just hold me, or allow me to cry or answer all the questions all over again. He was right in there with me, healing alongside with me, right? And so I felt supported during our journey in terms of my own emotional healing. And it's such a powerful thing. Okay, number 6, this is for the betrayed. This is for the betrayed. You need to avoid sharing all of this with people. Now, I'm not saying suffer in silence. I'm saying operate with wisdom. So if you are going to tell people, make sure it's not many. It's a very, very few, 1 or 2 people that you can trust, who you know are wise people, who you know wants the best, not just for you, but for your partner and your marriage, and who you know is going to support you without just putting things in your mind and causing confusion, right? And what I find is that the couples that get too many people involved, it does bring a lot of confusion into the situation that's already very messy. There's so many different voices, and your own voice gets drowned out. So you start to lose what it is that you want, and you almost automatically start to consider what other people would say. You will think about the impact on other people outside of your marriage, and your focus starts to be divided between your marriage and all these other people. It's too many voices, particularly in a place where your emotions may not be as stable as they would be, right? You really need a clear mind in this season. You really need people around you who are just going to support you, who are going to be there as a soundboard, who are going to give you wise counsel and pray alongside with you. I find that the people that do that, keep that circle very, very tight and small, do better in the long run. Um, yeah, don't share this with too many people, but don't suffer in silence as well. If you need help, reach out, and that's what somebody like me is also here for. Reach out to somebody who is skilled and a professional in the area, who can really help guide you through. Number 7, this can be a controversial one, and it really is about you and what feels right for you. But I always advise couples to hold off from being physically intimate until the betrayed person is at a place where they're choosing to be intimate for the right reasons. Oftentimes, what I find is that the betrayed person wants to rush into being intimate with their partner. They become more sexualized, they want to be more adventurous, maybe do things that they wouldn't usually do. And this is usually an attempt to say, hey, listen, I'm sexy, we can do this here. You don't have to go anywhere else. It's a cry. It's based on fear. And it's not a healthy place to be offering oneself up from. And what I find is that when people do have sex at this stage for the wrong reasons, the emotional impact is devastating. They come out of that situation feeling dirty, feeling more hurt, feeling more broken, right? Feeling exhausted, spiritually, emotionally exhausted, because it's a fight to try and keep that person. It hasn't come from the right place. Now, is there a time that I think is best? Like I said, it's when the betrayed person and both of you feel like we're doing this from the right place now, right? We're doing this to connect emotionally. We're doing this because we're at that place where we do want to express love. We've got needs and we're happy to do that with each other without it impacting us emotionally. We can start then. But before that, I would say focus on building your emotional connection, doing the healing work, talking, healing together, and then naturally move on to having sex. Number 7 is keep communicating. Keep communicating, keep communicating. And I'm going to say to the betrayer that this communication can get tiring for you. It can get tiring. A lot of it obviously is going to be about the same thing. You may find that the betrayed partner is asking some of the same questions over and over again. You want to sort of move past it and push this as far back into the past as possible. Maybe you have a lot of feelings of guilt and you just want to sort of move past it, and your partner keeps bringing it up and bringing it up. There is a time when that is necessary, and you just have to accept it as some of the consequences of the choices that you made, right? You've got to keep communicating, because what is happening, your partner is trying to make sense of all that has happened, of their whole life, this whole marriage, who they are now. This has impacted them on such a level that it has caused a complete confusion for them. And so the continual questioning and wanting to talk about it is almost them trying to put pieces of the jigsaw together. And you're the person that they have to talk to about this, right? So keep those lines of communication open, stay empathetic, stay compassionate. But I would say that, like earlier on, avoid conversations about the actual sex that you had. You don't want anything that's going to give a clear picture in the mind of your partner that they're never going to be able to erase. Again, I've done a whole video about that. Go ahead and check that out here, how to deal with the questions that your partner's answering, why, or asking you, and why they're asking you so many questions, so that you can sort of make sense of all of that. Number 8, here's the big one. You want to start to build trust. And the way that you're going to be trying to build that trust initially is just verbally, by saying, I'm sorry, and you can believe me, and I'm never going to do this again. Unfortunately, your words no longer hold weight. And the only thing that does is your actions. Now, it's difficult for you to say that you are going to be a different person when you keep yourself in the same situation with the same group of friends, maybe in the same workplace with the same behaviors, habits, hobbies, all of these things. And so, what you have to do as a betrayed person is to say, what do I need to change in my life? What adjustments do I need to make in my personal life that will hinder me from being in such a situation again, and evidence to my partner that I am looking to be a different person, right? So I don't mean you have to shut all areas of your life down, but if you were doing certain things that made you more open to being in a situation where you could have an affair, one of the first things you could do to evidence it to your partner that you are seeking to change and be a better person is to cut certain things off, right? If you were in a group of friends where this is pretty much the norm, right, and you're surrounded by people who don't honor their marriage, One way you're going to evidence to your partner that you are a different person is by withdrawing from such a circle and being around people who do honor their marriage, right? So it's going to be about your actions, not your words, and it's so important that you seek to be the man who your partner can trust rather than trying to force your partner to trust the present person who you are, which is somebody who can have an affair. Do you get? I hope I articulated myself well with that. And lastly, obviously, I strongly advise you to join mine or anybody else's affair recovery program. I cannot express to you how much of a difference this is going to make to your healing journey, to both of you as individuals, and this new marriage that you are going to create. What I find is that many couples just sort of work their way through it as best they can, and years and years and years later this is still impacting their marriage when it really doesn't have to. I really encourage my couple to understand that they now have an opportunity to rebuild trust, restore intimacy, and create the marriage of their dreams. And it can be stronger than before the affair. It absolutely can be, if it's gone about in the right way, in a strategic way. You know, many people say once the intimacy is gone, it's gone forever. Once the trust is gone, it's gone forever. These are lies. They are lies. And, you know, this is something that I have gone through with my husband, and I believed those lies. And we were able to create an amazing marriage that was absolutely stronger than before the affair. And this is what you have the opportunity to do. So, again, if that's something that you are eager and interested in, just book a free breakthrough call with me. It's 30 minutes. Let's talk about it and let's see if you can absolutely not allow infidelity to be the end of your marriage. Bless you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.